the call now. And then just move in, if I might, to introductions. I'll be very quick about it, but there are enough new people around the table, and for some of us, it's been a minute. So if you will, when I call on you, if you wouldn't mind to just share who you are and which group you represent. I think one of the key purposes of a group like this is to connect you to people and places that you may not otherwise know exist. So let's go ahead and kick off in that direction. And I'll try to keep us at a good pace. We will definitely be done by 3 p.m., if not before. So let's go ahead and start with David Bradley.
Hey, everybody, I'm David Bradley. I'm president of the Athens Area Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome, David. Clark.
Clark Brown, citizen at large.
Nice.
In more than one way.
Josh Bodman.
Josh Podman, Office of Service Learning at University of Georgia, working with community partnerships.
Perry.
Hey, Perry Reddick, Vice President at Piedmont College.
Carol Kofer.
Carol Rayburn Kofer, Workforce Development Director with the Northeast Georgia Regional Commission Workforce Development Board.
Susan.
Hi, Susan Boatwright. I work with Carol, or for Carol, Workforce Development.
Mark Madison.
Hey all, Mark Madison, United Way of Northeast Georgia. Two of our focus areas are early childhood success and workforce development, so we're thrilled to be here. Thanks.
Welcome, Joe.
Joe Fabregas, just Clark County citizen.
Thanks, Joe. Welcome. Joe Ehrlich.
Yep. Hey, everyone. Joe Ehrlich, Clark County Mentor Program. Also joined by my colleague, Ali from the program.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Welcome, Ali. Would you like to introduce yourself next?
Yeah, my name is Ali Elliman. I'm the AmeriCorps Vista with the Clark County Mentor Program.
Welcome. Thanks for joining. Patrick.
Hey, I'm Patrick Ennis. I'm the head of school at Downtown Academy, private schools serving all of Clark County. We provide scholarships to remove the economic barrier to children seeking a private elementary school experience. And I'm going to take my mask off so you can see the full picture here.
There you go. Shout out to private schools. Teresa.
Hi, everybody. I'm Teresa Napoli. I'm the principal at St. Joseph here in Athens. Been an Envision Athens, Educate Athens lover.
From the beginning. We appreciate you. Gustavo.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Gustavo Rodriguez. I'm with the Athens Clark County Economic Development Department as Workforce Development Coordinator.
Awesome. Thanks, Gustavo. Dr. Tony Mallon.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tony Mallon. I'm the director of the Institute for Nonprofit Organizations in the UGA School of Social Work.
Iva King.
Hello, I'm a Athens resident, also a retired educator and one of the co-leaders of Indivisible, and just very interested in education in Athens. Clark County.
Good to see you, Miss Iva. Thanks for joining today. Catherine Lukovsky.
I couldn't get myself unmuted. I am the Region 5 Regional Coordinator for the Georgia Department of Labor.
Good to hear you, Catherine. Patricia.
Good afternoon. I'm Patricia Maddox with Family Connection, Communities and Schools of Athens, and I'm joined by my colleague, and his name is Tim Johnson. He's well known, and I guess he can introduce himself next, if okay.
Yeah, sure.
I'm Tim Johnson. I'm Executive Director of Family Connection, Communities and Schools of Athens. Thank you, Patricia and Aaron and everyone.
Nice. I like that intro, Patricia. Very smooth. Aaron Thompson Podman, the other Aaron.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Erin Thompson Podvin. I am the Community Engagement Specialist for the Clark County School District in our Office of Community Engagement and Strategic Partnerships, if that wasn't long enough.
Nice. Every bit of that. You earn every bit of that title and more, Aaron. Next, another hardworking CCSD employee, Crystal Gillis.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm actually here, I think, in place for Dr. Jillian Watley. She is the Executive Director of Student Support Services. So I'm going to take copious notes and share them with her afterwards.
Yeah, great. And no pressure. You know what, the meeting and John Morris, who I'll ask to introduce himself next, takes excellent notes, so you don't even have to worry about it. We got you covered. All right, next, let me welcome the Envision Athens team, starting with John Morris.
Hey everybody, John Morris, Project Coordinator at Envision.
Thank you, John. Next, Savannah.
Hey guys, I'm Savannah Farr, fellow with Envision Athens.
And Abhishek.
Hello everyone, I'm Abhishek. I'm a fellow at Envision Athens.
Welcome guys. Olivia.
I'm Olivia Amato. I'm with Athens Area Homeless Shelter. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator.
Fantastic. Wesley.
Hello, everyone. I'm Wesley Molina. I'm the Workforce Development Coordinator at the Career Academy and the Work-Based Learning Coordinator for the school district.
Good to see you, Wesley. All right, last I see a school board member, Miss Linda Davis. Would you like to say hello? She might be.
Hi there. I'm sorry, Aaron. I'm on my cell phone for the first time, so I'm happy to be with you guys, and I will stay with you as long as I possibly can. My daughter's having surgery right now, so I'm in a wait space. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for joining. And last, I see Allison McCulloch. Would you like to say hello?
Yes, thank you, Aaron. My name is Allison McCulloch. I'm the Director of Community Relations at the University of Georgia, and I will turn my camera on after I finish eating my lunch. So I apologize for just sticking a picture up.
No worries.
Allison, I'd like to see what you're eating.
I mean, you'd be jealous. It's a delicious salad.
I was hoping it was like a Lunchable or something. That's not what I would expect Allison McCulloch to be eating. So I would find that personally very entertaining. And the Barger boys would be jealous because they don't get Lunchables. So they think that there are these like amazing things that, Dr. Allen, I know you just signed on. Are you able to introduce yourself, Shanice? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dr. Allen with the Innovative Healthcare Institute, and today I'm just able to get on, so I'm excited about that. We provide healthcare training to individuals that are interested in entering healthcare. We provide classes such as nurse aid training, patient care tech, EKG, and phlebotomy. And so once those classes are completed, the students can take the certification examination, be it for state or national. We also have a lab. Because of COVID, we weren't able to have the students to go into different places to complete their externship lab. The students are able to get those externship hours completed at Innovative. So we provide many healthcare services. Most recent, we've been doing COVID testing, and we will be doing vaccinations soon. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks for all you're doing. So guys, I mentioned that, at a future meeting, we will be diving back into the plan of work. There are a couple of key transitions that would be helpful to have in place and made before that point. And one of those is the fulfillment of the CEO position at the Career Academy. So our next meeting will be in April. We'll announce that date and time closer to the end of the meeting. So just explaining why we're not really focused on the plan of work in ways that we normally are, because there is so much happening in the education domain. We thought that the best use of the next 30 minutes would be to simply bring us all together for just a constructive conversation and a reconnect to give you all opportunity to share any updates that you have, as well as provide any support that this group might need. So I will probably just call on a few of you who I'm guessing have updates to share. So if you can just kind of be ready for an informal popcorn conversation. Let's start with an announcement. I know an update from David, Wesley, and Clark, the triumvirate of workforce development planning here.
Sure, I'll jump in. So just a little context, over the last, I guess, really year, maybe year and a half, we've been meeting in a subgroup for workforce development, trying to put together some things for the students in Clark County, whether it be increasing internship opportunities for students, or also just trying to engage our business partners out in the community in our classrooms. And so we had some success with building a guest speakers bureau that we hope to get to our classrooms this year. Obviously, lots of plans that were being made kind of went by the wayside with things that changed. So really, we met recently, David, Clark, and I, and to just kind of get back together and see where we're at and what we can do with what's going on right now. And so we are thinking about ways that we can engage the Speakers Bureau. But there are some kind of obstacles that are kind of in the way still, as far as just not being, trying to be mindful of the instructional time that our students are getting. They're already, kind of getting limited time because they're getting about half as much instructional time as they would if they were in person right now. So we want to be mindful of that. So we've been, we kicked around an idea about how we can engage those guest speakers without also kind of taking away some of that instructional time. And so the initial idea is potentially putting together either an event or maybe even like a series of events with some guest speaking kind of panels. They would be related to maybe some particular kind of categories of careers. So for example, like maybe like the trades, we could have a panel of people involved with the trades speak to students. We would invite them to do this after instructional time. So right now, like our students are doing virtual learning until around like 2:45 in the afternoon. We would invite the speakers and hold the events after class time is over virtually, where students could attend if they want. The target audience would be juniors and seniors in high school, but we wouldn't limit that. Any student could also attend. But it would be kind of like a moderated, or at least our idea of it would be sort of like a moderated panel where students really just get the an opportunity to kind of hear kind of what, a little bit about like the career, but more importantly, like the person that's in the career, their kind of story, their kind of steps of getting into that and connecting it to opportunities that are in Athens. So really kind of making it a little bit more real and kind of trying to make it an engaging and relevant kind of conversation for the students. We're very much in the beginning kind of planning stages of it. And I'm bringing it up now. We're really like hoping that some people in this group might be interested in also jumping on board with us and helping us kind of develop the plan and kind of see it through. If there are people in this group or of some people that might be interested in jumping on this, I guess, with us, feel free to reach out to myself or David Bradley or Clark Brown. And David, Clark, please jump in. I'm sure I forgot some things.
Sure. Yeah, no, and I mean, here we've roughed out quite a bit of detail actually in a pretty short order, thinking through this and kind of establishing objectives and strategies. And as we get into tactic, that's where we really started to think we're going to need some support. And just as it stands now, kind of the straw man of thinking through the execution of this, about 8 key steps under which there's several things that need to happen. And really among the, all the input and support from everybody, absolutely needed and welcome, but somebody who can help almost take charge from a project management standpoint. In pulling off an event or a series of events like this, you establish a timeline and there are certain things that need to happen. And, somebody who has a natural skill set around managing volunteers and others in that way would be really, really valuable. It's not one of my natural born skill sets. In fact, of the 3 companies I do work for, there are multiple project managers chasing me most of the time. So having that self-awareness, I can't take it on, but that would be tremendous to get that kind of help.
Leslie, just a quick logistical question. What is the ideal kind of implementation date for this? When would you hope to have this bureau live and sharing info?
So that's still, kind of to be determined, but like when we were speaking about it, I mean, I think at the earliest we're talking about like kind of late March. Like we want to give it enough time to really like kind of plan this up. My first step is really, I'm going to reach out to students, and I want to make sure that we're finding out what they're interested in hearing about. And, we're going to collect some information that way before we, really reach out to individuals to potentially be part of the panels. So I think the end of March would probably be when we're trying to get it done, end of March, early April. And potentially, like I said, one event, maybe multiple, if we can have success with it. We were thinking, probably around an hour and 15 minutes would be how long it would be, with a few members on the panel each time.
Yeah, to give you of kind of just as we came up with a straw man for this, among the things that would need to happen between now and then, right? Clarifying what it is the objective, identifying key success measures, right? To know we've established it. That's number one. Number two, define that timeline. Number three, identify what are the themes that we want to target. And so that's the work that Wesley was talking about of reaching out and surveying, finding out what the students want, looking also at who do we already have in that speakers bureau, and are there parts missing that we're going to have to recruit for. Defining what that format would look like in a moderated conversation. I'm almost reminded of the Lincoln quote around, I'm sorry I couldn't send you a 1-page letter. I didn't have enough time. So I'm going to try and create something that's really engaging and impactful and put it into an hour. There's a lot of moving parts that you got to make certain everybody's on the same page for. All the way through to creating some feedback survey, from the students, from the speakers, and then figuring out what's next for sustainment. So that's it's March. A lot would need to happen between now and that date. It's not as easy as, oh, we got 3 people, get on a Zoom meeting. Right?
Yeah, so Wesley, one area where I think that this group, Educate Athens, could be really helpful to you is, I don't know if you currently have a sheet or a live document that categorizes different panels in terms of different industries. Like, are you thinking of, a certain panel for a specific field that would connect to students with that interest, and then a separate panel in a different field or industry for students who have that particular interest? So are we talking about multiple panels?
So we were thinking about potentially there being like multiple events, and it's all, still nothing's in concrete, but like something that we threw out was like potentially the theme being around, like say like a panel that's connected to like the trades, and then maybe having a panel that's like public safety, and so it's like different students may tune in for this week because they are interested in going into like something related to the trades, or we could have another week where we have, people that are interested in kind of maybe education or social services kind of all together on one panel. So it wouldn't be just like, say, 3 nurses on a panel or, whatever. We try to have like a range, but within kind of a common theme there for that event.
Yeah, well, I understand that this is very much like an iterative process. And as you hear more from students, then we'll be able to provide more support. But just maybe one potential way to move forward is, if this would be constructive for the work, would be if there were a document created with some of the industry examples with slots, and that form or that Google Sheet could be shared with this group, and we could each make additions based on connections that we have and would be willing to actually invite to participate in a panel, that's something that I would be happy to do. And I'm happy to have an offline conversation with a work group about this.
Sure, that'd be great. And I think like some of it's going to come from that feedback we get from the students. And so like potentially we get the feedback from them and are able to kind of find some of those common themes between like what it is that they, they're interested in. And then that will kind of also kind of influence like what the panel looks like. That in connection with obviously like, what we have as far as our guest speakers and things as well. But I'll definitely take you up on that. Thank you.
Yeah, and this is a deeply and widely connected group. I think we all recognize, and many of you recognize even more than I do, the importance of the panels themselves being diverse and incorporating, different perspectives and different ways of being in the field, different demographics. So I think you have a nice group of folks to help you pull this off, Wesley.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Could I just mention,
Yes.
Aaron, so Josh Podvin, who was on the call, I don't know if he still is, but he did a survey of the students involved in Bridge to Employment at Cedar Shoals, which is about 50 kids, specifically about what kind of careers they would like to hear speakers talk about. So I'm sure he would be happy to share that with you.
I can share that information with you, Wesley.
Thank you.
Great. The good news is we have 30 participants on this call, which means there might be people in the room that you don't see who are on the second page of the gallery. So that's always a good problem to have. Thank you, Josh. David, is there anything you'd like to add? I know you have to jump off a little bit early today.
So not necessarily on that. I'm super appreciative of Clark and Wesley for continuing to push this going forward. And I know that Susan is probably going to be talking about externships going forward, so I'll pass on that. We are working with CCSD at trying to develop some very specific and formalized business partnerships with schools. Our goal is to try to get four very formalized, articulated business and school partnerships this fall, and conceivably do the same, fill it out with all of the Clark County schools in the spring of next year. So we made our first pitch to Caterpillar on Friday as far as them being the first official business and school partner. I'll let you know what happens there. Secondarily, and this is at our Educational Workforce Development Division of the Chamber, we've really we worked pretty hard with Dr. Ramirez in development of a conversation of how to further promote the soft skill programming that is currently underway within CCSD, and to conceivably get the business community engaged really formally and articulately in the soft skill programming and as early as 8th grade. That's something to be thought of, and I mean we're in the very initial stages of that conversation, but grateful to CCSD folks for agreeing that this is a pretty big deal.
Thanks, David. And David, I'm sorry if you mentioned this, the jobs database, do you have any updates there on when?
And Gustavo is on the call as well. So this is something that in conjunction with economic development, this jobs database should be up and running in probably by the end of March. We'll let you know, but it ought to be really up and running and hotly available to anybody and everybody.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
David, thanks a lot for your leadership. I know you have to run, so thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
And speaking of workforce development, I feel like this is a reasonable group within which to share this this update. I just connected with the Director of Central Services for Athens Clark County Unified Government, who noted that they're having a really difficult time filling certain key positions in landscaping and HVAC. So if you all happen to know of anyone who has those skills, please feel free to connect with me, and I would love to connect them to this type of position, which is, a fairly stable position that includes benefits. So just wanted to note that in case any of you have folks who are looking in any of those industries. Again, that's landscape management, architecture, landscaping, and HVAC. So Gustavo, you were just mentioned, and I've really enjoyed working with you and learning more about ACORE. Is there any update that you would like to share with the group today? And if not, no worries.
No, thanks for calling on me. Like David said, this job search function I think is going to be really cool. You know, we are working on this now, like you mentioned, and working with a vendor. The idea is that we're going to bring together literally, you know, thousands of job boards into one place, and it's not just to, you know, try to, you know, grab every job under the sun. The idea is to really focus on kind of some better paying, some, you know, more kind of manufacturing related jobs in the area. So once this is put together, which, you know, it's going to be it is one of our main priorities in economic development right now, in partnership with the chamber. You know, we're going to make that available to y'all. So I'm really excited about it. You know, it's I think other communities have done this before, and it'll really work as a sort of a one-stop shop for all of these, you know, quote unquote better paying jobs. So it's coming, and I'll keep y'all updated.
Thanks a lot, Gustavo. Next, Erin Thompson-Podman.
Good afternoon again, everyone. Just a few updates to share from the school district side. One of the big ones, it's been fairly widely broadcast, but in case you have not heard, there have been plans announced for phased reopening. The information is all available on the CCSD website, but a couple of high points that I'll just share. It is going to be staggered, and starting a week from today, next Monday, our adaptive special education students will start to return to buildings. The following, excuse me, not the following week, but 2 weeks later on March 1st, our pre-K through second graders will return. Following that, 2 weeks on from that, March 15 will be third through fifth, as well as they will begin to cohort in these high school students. And then on March 22nd, toward the end of March, bringing in middle school students. That will be 4 days a week with in person, face-to-face for those that opt. Wednesdays will be an at-home day of learning, virtual, so that their cleaning can take place midweek, and then again, obviously at the end of the week. Families have the opportunity this week, and it's actually just been shared with me from our PR communications office, that families have until this Friday. Initially, I think they were giving until Wednesday. They now have until this Friday to go to decide on the instructional model of choice for their child. So if they would like their child to return to the face-to-face opportunity, or if they would like their child to remain virtual. Kiddos choosing to remain virtual, it has been shared that they will be opting into virtual for the rest of this academic year if they choose virtual at this point. So that's just a little bit on the reopening, but that's a big thing for our community. That means that you know, we'll hopefully be able to, I think they're doing a good job of staggering students back in, so we can do that safely, and it'll free up time certainly for many folks in our community that have been supporting virtual learning at home. So so that's something to share. And again, there's information about that on the CCSD website, widely available. The other thing I wanted to share is one of the primary focuses of my work is with our local school governance teams. And despite the fact that it's early February, it's already time to think about electing our next local school governance team members. There are folks on this call who are intimately familiar with it as current or past LSGT participants. So we will be looking for folks interested in sitting in roles as parents or guardians of their if in their child's schools. We will also be looking for folks to fill community member seats. So different schools will have different openings. These are 2-year terms and they're staggered. So, and we also have some at-large seats at the schools, but those are not elected. The election process is for electing those parents and community members. Teachers and staff are also elected, but that is an internal election within each school building. So there will be information coming out very soon about the process. Anybody interested in running needs to attend a candidate information session. Attending a session does not mean you are committing to be on the ballot. It means I am interested in more information about LSGTs, after which you could then opt to put your name on the ballot. Those information sessions will be the 2nd and 10th of March, but again, there'll be a lot more that will be shared. We've got signage already made. We've got flyers that are coming out very soon. Please be on the lookout through our weekly updates from Clark County for our Better Together newsletter. And after I'm done speaking, I'll drop a link to our most recent Better Together newsletter. That's a newsletter that we like to share with community, families, folks inside the district, you know, folks with students in the district, folks who work in the district, and folks all over the community. And that's a place where you'll be able to find more information about the LSGT info sessions, how to sign up. Yeah, and you can always reach out to me. I'll drop that link in the chat, as well as my email, in case you should have any questions about local school governance teams, you know, being involved, what that looks like. And in the interest of sharing as well, Aaron mentioned some jobs through central services, and I was looped in today through a conversation with Valerie Bell at the Athens Clark County Library. There are several jobs that they are looking to fill too, some bilingual jobs, both full-time with benefits and some part-time positions. And I'll drop those links in the chat right now too. If people here could spread the word, they would be most appreciative.
Erin, thank you. What is the time commitment required for LSGT participation, in case, as we're talking about that, people want to know?
Sure, good question. So LSGTs meet a minimum of 6 times a year, but more often than not, they meet 8 to 10 times a year. Those meetings are roughly an hour. And then you are also, as an LSGT member, are required to participate in annually. So altogether about 7 hours of training. And we provide those training opportunities, both a mix of, well, this year it was virtual, our LSGT University. We had a 4-hour LSGT University that was over 2 different evenings. And then there are modules that people can listen to, so you can get your hours in of your training. And again, those are 2-year commitments. So meetings tend to be about an hour to an hour and a half a month, and then that training commitment. And then some occasional, I would say, depending on what your LSGT is working on, you may be, you know, reviewing something from 1 month to the next between a meeting, or engaging in a phone conversation, something like that, but nothing too, I wouldn't say anything too not too cumbersome as far as time commitment there.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Erin. So guys, we've done some introductions and updates around workforce development. Speakers Bureau heard an update from the Clark County School District. What other updates would you all like to share? We have about 20 minutes before we need to honor our time commitment to one another and sign off. Tim Johnson, I see you.
Okay. The Kids Count is an annual collection of data about children and youth for every county in the country. And Georgia Family Connection Partnership put together a report on Clark County specific Kids Count data and the trends over the last several years. And they're gonna facilitate a workshop for our interagency community meeting this Friday from 9 to 10:30. And you're all certainly invited to that. I'll put a link in the chat. It'll be Zoom. And I also want to mention that next month we're honoring Hank Huckabee for his lifetime contributions to education and to children and youth. Many of you probably know him because he was the chancellor of the Board of Regents, where he really worked to try to get the university system, DeKalb, technical college system, and DOE working together on some projects. And he was vice president for finance at UGA, where he really worked to increase, and this was very much behind the scenes, but it increased the pay of the lowest paid workers and made a commitment to move them to living wages for a family of four. He also, though, he was the director of the Office of Planning and Budget for Governor Miller, and he was one of the architects of creating the Hope Scholarship Program, the pre-K program, Family Connection itself statewide, and other initiatives, and the more pay raises for teachers than had ever occurred in any governor's 2 terms in office. So we're honoring him for that next month, and invite everyone. I also wanted to mention that we're looking at submitting a Promise Neighborhood application. Promise Neighborhood was an initiative of the Obama administration, basically saying comprehensive wraparound supports in high poverty neighborhoods for children starting at birth and going all the way through post-secondary education. And it was pretty spectacular when it started for 1 year, and then Congress gutted the funding. And so they were only giving like 6 grants, but I'm hoping it's going to grow again. It's a huge amount of work and a very short turnaround. But if any of you are interested in being involved with that, please let me know about that. And DOE also has issued a call for proposals for comprehensive community schools. And I don't know if the school district is looking at that. I went ahead and submitted an intent to apply because they require what they call a backbone organization. We've applied with the district in the past, but I need to follow up with them about that. And DeKalb has some early learning grant opportunities as well.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, Dr. Mallon has an update related to the Earned Income Tax Credit.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. And again, my apologies for not having my camera on. It's not working right now. But I'm working with faculty at the School of Social Work and Family and Consumer Sciences on a 3-year project to try to increase awareness of the Earned Income Tax Credit, which is connected to workforce development in the sense that it's could be a substantial increase in income for working adults, as much as $7,000 if, depending on their income and if they qualify. And we've found that while many people do get the EITC in Athens, it's lower than the average for Georgia, which is lower than nationally. So there's potentially millions of dollars of federal money that's not coming into the community because people who are eligible are either not filling out their taxes or they're not claiming the Earned Income Tax Credit. So I'm going to just post a website here where we are trying to work. We're working already, and I welcome the participation of any other organizations on collecting information from the community about their awareness of the Earned Income Tax Credit, but then also conducting workshops to increase, again, knowledge and utilization of that. Erin has thankfully, and Tim and others on this call have been helping us spread things through the network. So if you see that something about EITC from Tim or Erin, other folks on this call, that's me and some other people. So it'd be great if I'm going to put my email in here as well. If you're interested in learning more and getting on kind of, making sure I send information to you, I'll go ahead and do that. But if not, be aware that that's going out through other listservs in the community as well. Thanks very much, Erin. And thanks for your help with this, and Tim and others as well.
Of course, Dr. Mallon, thank you. So guys, I would love to open it up as I look around. Yep, I was actually coming to you next, Teresa. I wanted to make sure our private school partners had the opportunity to engage and share. So Teresa, and then Patrick, if you have anything.
Actually, just have a question. I think it's for Josh, and I can't remember if there's an Athens Technical College representative, but usually we send our 8th graders to campus, and then I was wondering if that's still an option or if Experience UGA is still going on, or what that looks like.
Did somebody pay you to make this amazing segue?
No, they didn't. I promise. We just want to do it.
Yeah.
Still.
So no, totally. Well, so we obviously we've transitioned what is normally an in-person experience to a virtual experience. UGA, we've started rolling those out, and like everybody, I'll throw some information in the chat. We've created a virtual experience pre-K to 8th grade, and we're slowly releasing that content. But if you have it's not just limited to kindergartners, but we have read alouds that our College of Education students are doing at the kindergarten level. There's some engaging tour content for the State Botanical Garden. But for those of you that aren't familiar, these trips usually come to UGA's campus and they're tied to learning standards at the grade level. So we've sort of flipped that into a virtual model. And so I'll get that out there and you all can obviously share that. The beauty of it being virtual is that it's not limited to just Clark County. Any kiddo that can get internet access can access this virtual content. So look for, I think our goal is going to be toward the end of March to have all pre-K to 8th grade content up, and then we'll have some different opportunities for the high school level. So.
And did you have an Athens Technical College person?
No one is here from ATC today, but Perry is here from Piedmont College, which is soon to become Piedmont University. Perry, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, we also though have the School of Education, and that might give us some links together. I think that would be great if we could do that. So we do become Piedmont University in April, and I think that's about it for now. I think I'll have another update next month though. Thank you.
Great. And I know some folks have to sign off. Is there anyone before you sign off that would like to give an update or share a question? Okay. How about Carol Kofer, Susan Boatwright? Any updates from WorkSource or your workforce?
Susan, I'll let you give them updates on externships if you would.
Absolutely. So we dusted off our 2020 plan for externships and have reached back out to the educators who had expressed an interest. And we are moving forward with the externships. Wesley and I talked with, and Gustavo talked with the several industry reps last week. They all seem very interested to host a couple of educators each. Plan A is to do that in person. Plan B is to put together a virtual externship. Plan A in person would have a team, 2 or 3 educators. And when I say educators, I don't specifically say teachers, we're trying to do a broad reach of all sorts of folks who work with the school system. And they would be placed with at least one other person at local industry, and they would spend the week there. We have a curriculum that it's a suggestion. It's not mandatory, but there's some things we would like to be covered. If it's virtual, then we would have the educators begin on Monday together virtually, and then visit each industry for a few hours virtually throughout the week. We are also planning, regardless of whether it's in person or virtual, for a trip to the Career Academy, if that's possible, and also a trip to Athens Technical College, so that the educators can kind of get the broad understanding of what it looks like post-graduation, and then even leading up to junior, senior year. So we've been working on that. We'll have more to report out at our April meeting. I would also say we are working on a marketing platform that's pretty cool. It's called Be Pro, Be Proud Georgia. And it would be on site at all high schools. This would of course be next year, likely. We may get a visit to the Career Academy this year. We're working through that. It may not be an option, but this is it started in Arkansas, and it is geared toward targeting high school students, introduces them to about 9 career choices. The platform is integrated that the student can go in and search for a job. We are talking about definitely connecting it to the new job resource that the Chamber and Economic Development are putting together. But it would tell them the job, if there are any openings, and the training that's required in order to have that job. So those are things we have in the works, and more to report in April.
Great. Thank you so much. Olivia, I would love to hear from you. It looked like you were ready to talk just a second ago. Oh, I see. She just put something in the chat box. So, okay. Yeah. So an update from the Bridge to Home program. There's an upcoming availability or an open slot there. And there's an email address for Jocelyn Crumpton if you know any parents who are facing or experiencing homelessness who might be a candidate for that program. So please note Jocelyn's email address, and that will also be in the meeting notes, okay? Gotcha. Leslie Hale, what about you?
Hi, everyone. So Books for Keeps is preparing for spring book distributions, following a pretty similar format to last year. We know that schools are going back in person, but there's still a lot of unpredictability and also different ways that students are being served since some are remaining virtual. So we will be using an online model for students to select their books again. The advantage this spring is that we are not facing a basically, 6-week period in which we have to ramp up before the end of the school year. We actually get to plan ahead this year for serving students through another model. So they will be choosing their 12 books through that online model. We'll be delivering the books actually to the schools to be packed by their grade level teams or their teachers, and then distributed either directly in school or through materials pickups that most schools are doing for students now. So we think that we'll have much better reach with students. We still reached about 2/3 of Clark County elementary students last year. So that was about 53,000 books that went home with students, mostly delivered directly to their homes by volunteers, which, as you can imagine, was a really big lift for our organization. So we're glad to be able to do a lot of that through the schools this coming spring. We are preparing to hire 2 seasonal part-time folks to assist with that effort, just as we did last year. And we're also getting ready to advertise a fourth year-round position, so 4th permanent position with Books for Keeps that will be part-time, at least starting out, that will be a little bit more community focused, focused on community engagement, family skills building, and going out into the community, possibly with vehicles that are being put together by the Clark County School District, as yet to be named. And Books for Keeps is also in the process of applying for funding to acquire a bookmobile to do some of that community outreach, going into high need communities, connecting with parents and families, and providing books, as well as, again, skills building to create the foundation underneath those books. So that's all the big stuff happening with Books for Keeps right now.
Love it. Thanks so much, everybody. And I don't want to miss anyone. I know it's about time to start wrapping up, but you can tell I'm looking around the gallery wall. Josh Podman, another update.
Well, I
Love
just
it.
wanted to share one great collaboration that's come out during this time frame for those that may be looking for some after-school program support. Our Grow It, Know It program has collaborated with ACC Leisure Services, and they're doing some after-school programming at East Athens Community Center, and then Lay Park. There's going to be some, I think, ramping up this spring. So I'm not 100% sure about the capacity, but I know that there's a component where food is distributed. They learn about cooking and teaching through that. So it's a great opportunity, and I would imagine that there's still some space available there.
Great, thanks so much. I, for one, am just trying to keep up with the activity in the chat box. So there's a lot happening, and the hunch that we had that just bringing folks together to kind of reconnect and share updates was a productive use of our time today. Our next meeting will be Monday, April 19th at 2 p.m. It is our hope at that point that we can roll back out the plan of work for Envision Athens, maybe discuss some updates with you all at that point, hopefully welcome the new CEO to the Career Academy. So very much look forward to that. Now, one last invitation from Clark Brown, who is quite persuasive, to join he and Wesley. Wesley, again, however you want to organize the information regarding industry categories, I do think this group will be happy to interact with that document, share some leads, and maybe even issue some invitations. So I think we're equipped to be helpful in that area. Also, one other transition, Dr. Jillian Watley joined the district somewhat recently. Erin or Crystal, can you share her exact title? I have a feeling I'm not going to get it correct.
She's the Executive Director for Student Support Services. So she is over the Division of Support Services, which houses school social work, school psychology, migrant ed specialists, and school nurses. She also, of course, works a lot with policy as well, in conjunction with Lawrence Harris and discipline. So she's kind of touching all bases and works, of course, collectively and collaboratively with our instructional team, which is led by Brandon Gaskins. So I wanted to ask quickly, because to your point, Erin, there's so much information in the chat. Will the chat be available later? Like, do you all save that and send that? Because I was trying to copy and drag.
Yeah, that's a great question. So you're always welcome to, at the bottom of the chat box, if you look at those ellipses, you can always click on those and save the chat at the end of the call. But I can guarantee John Morris, who is our coordinator, takes fantastic notes, and those will go out within 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got you covered, I think. Yeah, Erin.
I wanted to tag team on with Crystal in one of the other pieces that we're working on with Dr. Watley is some diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in the district. And we've actually been piloting some work with one of our LSGTs recently that will roll out across all LSGTs in the future. So both working on diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts internally with our staff in CCSD, and also looking at that externally. Well, our students are still internal, but both with staff and with our larger community of students and the community at large.
Great, thank you. And just to acknowledge, Crystal, I know that your job was not easy before the days of COVID, and you and I have had some opportunity to work together. So just as the director of social work in the school system, thank you for the heavy lifting that both you and Erin and the community engagement team as well are doing. So we appreciate that, and just want to acknowledge the load that is on your shoulders right now.
Thank you. I think I'm fortunate to have a really great team of social workers. So it makes it a lot easier, a lot more manageable.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dr. Watley just started her position, I think around the turn of the year, maybe a little bit before. She's already been very engaged with Envision in the health domain and wanted to attend today, but had a conflict. And I understand that she would like to maybe at the next meeting or an upcoming Educate Athens meeting, kind of share her vision for what's next as she leads those very critical departments at a really pivotal time for students. So guys, we're going to close out. Miss Linda Davis, thank you again for joining. For those of you that are praying people, send some prayers up for her daughter's surgery. And I put the next meeting in the chat box, but in case you missed it, I'm going to do so again. See you in the Zoom room on Monday, April 19th at 2 p.m. Look forward to it, guys. Thanks so much. 2 minutes early. Don't spend it all in one place. No.
Thanks.